Hey you guys, welcome back to Kiana Talks Ball, and we are also back in the W column, okay? Denver Nuggets had a great win over the Memphis Grizzlies. Now understand, it still is the Memphis Grizzlies at the end of the day. Half their roster is out, damn near all their starters is out. But they played hard. I don't really look at that as an excuse. Memphis actually played really well. Their bench took over for the most part. Jock Landale had an amazing game. Jalen Wells had an amazing game. Jalen Wells, 22 points plus 7. Let's see here. Okay, here we are. Yeah, Jock Landale had 26 points. And overall, 55%, 10 of 18, really good, 50% from 3, 10 rebounds. Yeah, there was a stretch where, a couple stretches where Jock was killing us. And funny enough, I wanted Jock for Denver in the offseason. I remember the last Miami game that we played. I think it was like the second to last game of the season. I remember the Miami game that we played last season at their home. I think it was our last away game. And we beat them. We beat them, but they were coming back with their third string, played our third string, late in the fourth. And Jock Landale, had us a little worried for a minute. So I was hoping he would be that backup center for us, that we would get him in the offseason. But, little did I know that we would just make a Dario Jonas Valanciunas 1-for-1 swap. But Jock Landale was one of the free agents in the offseason. So overall, Denver made the right choice. But Jalen Wells played really well. He shot 4 for 8 from 3. My whole thing with Denver all night was just like, geez Louise, like, can y'all keep them off the 3-point line? We can live. Stop. I think because Jock was killing us so bad, Jaren Jackson Jr., he didn't have a great game, but he didn't have a bad game either. And I think that since all the other starters were injured and there was an available Jaren Jackson Jr., that they're just like, focus on him. But when Jock Landale started cooking, it's just like, okay, we got to give him some more attention too. And it's just like, no, because y'all are... Let's see, they had 16 of 47 from 3, which is 34%. But I mean, the 16 threes that they did make, gave us a little run for our money. So my whole thing is just like, man, just run them off the 3-point line. And they did do that for a good amount of times in the second half. There was one play, I think in the fourth quarter, where Jock had the ball. Jock had the ball in the paint, and Jokić was guarding him. It was either Jokić or Val, and Tim was guarding the wing. I think he was guarding Spencer in the wing. Spencer also played well for a backup PG. Spencer was on the wing. And Tim, they were in zone. Tim is like acting like he wants to kind of, play help defense with Jock Landale. I'm like, Tim, you're not, you can strip the ball, but first of all, you're too far away to be trying to do that. So you're not going to be much help on help defense. So Tim kind of left his man to go help on, help with defense. It wasn't weak side defense, but to go help with defense on Jock Landale. Jock passes it out to Spencer on the 3-point line. Spencer shoots it. Was it Spencer or was it Jalen? I'm pretty sure it was Spencer. But Spencer shoots it and misses. Spencer shoots it and misses it. So I'm like, thank goodness. But there were some plays where I'm like, I'd rather take a 2 from Aldama or from Jock or, JJJ than a 3 from anybody else, because the stats say they only shot 34% from 3, but they was knocking them down. But to the Denver side, I think Denver played like they knew exactly what they had to do in this game. I'm pretty sure DA had a really good, pep talk with them about what to bring in this game, not to underestimate them. That's the sense that I got, because both sides were very much competitive. Denver didn't have a lot of turnovers in this game. Now, the turnovers that they did have were not great. Let's see here. They had 14 turnovers. Denver, they not new to having 20-something turnovers a game, child. They had 14 turnovers and 15 fouls, which is really good considering where we usually are, like in the 20s in both columns. But they had 14 turnovers, and crazy enough, Memphis scored 20 points off of our turnovers. We scored 15. They had 11 turnovers, and we scored 15 off of their turnovers, and they scored 20 points off of our 14 turnovers. Jesus Christ. 12 fast break points. Pretty even in both teams, scoring in the paint for 46. Usually Denver scores about like half their points in the paint. We're usually like 60-something points in the paint. Not today. I think Memphis did a great job at collapsing in the paint. I definitely think the refs, turned a blind eye to some of them fouls, especially on Peyton in the paint. But I think this is a great win for us shooting wise, because let's see here. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, so the overall field goal percentage is 50.5, which is extremely impressive. I mean, we do have Jokić and Jamal on our team, but that's very impressive to score 50% of the time. And from the 3-point range, we scored 51. That is a rarity. For us to have a higher 3-point percentage than field goal percentage is crazy. And that's why I feel like this win, it's one of the reasons why I feel like this win is so special, because it's the first win back from a bad loss against a poor team that we should have won. You get to finally recover, even though they only had like 1 day of recovery, it's still an extra day. Denver played hungry. They played hungry on both sides of the ball. Like I said, they came into the game playing like they know what they needed to do, and they did it. Baby, I had no clue. I had no clue Peyton Watson was gonna go off again, child. I had no clue. Let me see here. Let me see. Yeah, Peyton, Jesus Christ. 27 points. 2 points behind Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray played wicked, man. Jamal Murray, he had some threes that were really just out of this world. He had that 1 3 late in the fourth quarter. I think he got the switch, 2-man game. Was it 2-man or I'm trying to think, was it, 2-man game. I can't remember if it was Jokić or Val. But he got the switch. He got Jock Landale to switch onto him. And, Jock Landale is a big boy. And Jamal just kind of backed up and shot a long 3 over Jock Landale's head. And that thing said cash, nothing but net. And I was just like, oh my God. That was a wicked, crazy 3. But back to Peyton. Peyton, 27 points. He was a +3, felt more like a +15. 5 of 12 from 3, 41.7% from 3, and we will take it. He's one made 3 off of 50%. And I'm proud of him. I'm proud of him for taking the 12, 3-point attempts. If they're gonna give him to you, take it. And it's only gonna make you better. And these are kind of the shots you wish Christian would be taking. Again, we wish Chris a speedy recovery, a safe, speedy recovery. Don't come back too fast now. But Chris usually has a habit of second guessing himself when he gets the ball from behind the arc, wanting to pump fake and drive instead of just, if you're open, you have space, you have nothing but space and opportunity, take the three. So Chris, he usually hesitates on that. Peyton is not that. Peyton, if he has the space, he's gonna take the three. And baby, he was knocking them down. And then overall, 11 of 22 for overall field goal percentage. Baby, he had a nasty. He only had 5 rebounds, and that's the thing. I didn't even notice that he wasn't rebounding as much as he usually does. Both Zeke and Val had 6 rebounds apiece. So that's probably why I didn't notice Peyton not getting as many rebounds as he usually does. He usually gets somewhere like around 10 because he's just so lengthy, height-wise and wingspan-wise, and he can just kind of contort his body to like wherever the ball is going. But that's a big plus that I barely noticed that. Let's see here. Yeah, he only had 5 rebounds, and baby, he had a nasty block on Jaren Jackson Jr. Jaren Jackson Jr., he got in the paint, but he was second guessing himself. He tried the Euro step, but a little bit too slow with it. As he was trying to Euro step, Denver was like collapsing on him, and it gave Peyton just enough time to swat that thing down as soon as he threw it up. And I'm just like, golly, I hope that makes it on the highlights too, because who blocks Jaren Jackson Jr.'s shot? Who does that? Peyton Watson does. And he had 3 assists. And Peyton is getting a lot better when it comes to passing Nikola Jokić the ball, as he is filling in the starting power forward position. Aaron, in my opinion, is the best when it comes to feeding Nikola Jokić the ball. And there have been games and possessions where Peyton has been able to pass the ball or feed the ball to Nikola Jokić well. And there has been possessions where he's still learning, and it may result in a turnover and the other team getting points off of turnovers. But he just played so well today, man. He got, some fouls, 4 fouls, but it's just like, I don't know. I feel like the refs was calling petty stuff on him. They was calling petty stuff on him, but they weren't really calling fouls when he would get fouled. Like, there was one possession where I think Yoke gave P. Watt the ball. Yeah, somebody knocked the ball. I think it was Jalen, knocked the ball out of Yoke's hand. Yoke had to fight for it on the floor, got the ball, gave it to P. Watt, and P. Watt, I think he tries to go up for it twice. He goes up for it, gets his own rebound, and then he goes up for it again. And he's just like clobbered by 3 Grizzly players. And I'm just like, you mean to tell me there's not a foul in there somewhere? Like, come on, please. But P. Watt, definitely the player of the game to me. Yoke, man, Yoke is just doing Yoke stuff. Yoke just does stuff that just does not make sense, man. He had a half court. It's just like he's just so automatic. First of all, how many threes did he make? Nikola Jokić. He was 3 for 4. And every 3 he made, we needed it really bad. But man, one of them threes was just like a straight up half court jumper. And I was just like, oh my gosh. Yoke played amazing. He had, let's see here. Oh, Yoke only had 17 points. Wow. So we get a double-digit win, which I feel like we should have won by like 15, but I ain't gonna nitpick. But for us to get a double-digit win with paint points in the 40s and Nikola Jokić only scoring 17, how many minutes did Jamal play? Jamal played 37. Jamal usually has the most playing time because he's like a really only real point guard on the team. But You know, it's better than him playing 40 or 38. Jamal played just amazing, dude. Just 6 for 9 threes. The man just went freaking off. Like the threes he was making, I'm like, this dude, that duo, ridiculous. But yeah, to have a double-digit win, for us to have only 46 paint points, for us to give up 20 points off of turnovers, and for Nikola Jokić to only have 17 points, like that's a great win overall. That's a great win no matter who we play. And to do it away, really good. Spencer Jones, he was the only player with a negative plus minus, but it was a -8, whatever. And I think with Spence, I think Spence was just too short, for him to be in that, was he at the 2 or the 3? I forget which position he started at the 2 or the 3, but whatever he was, child, I think because Memphis's lineup is pretty big, when you consider JJJ, when you consider Aldama, Zach Edey, and of course Jock Landale. I think there were a lot of times where whoever Spence was guarding, he was definitely guarding the bigger body power forwards, and it was like whoever he was guarding, or Coward, whoever he was guarding, he wasn't getting the better of them. And he was playing good defense. The issue with Spence is like, he plays good defense, but sometimes because depending on who he's matched up with, it's just better offense. Like when we played DeMar, or when we played Sacramento 2 nights ago, a lot of the possessions where he had to D up against DeMar were good. DeMar is just DeMar, and DeMar knows how to, get his shots, and Aaron is just a lot better at doing it. But yeah, DeMar just kind of went off. So, and it was kind of that case tonight. I think Spence, has a really good size for his position, but his size just really couldn't compete with the guys that he was guarding, and they were just able to do whatever type of hook shots and floaters right over his head. Let's see. He only had 2 fouls. He only played 15 minutes. Well, 2 fouls in 15 minutes is good. And also on a good note, he got his first foul at the 8.5-minute mark. So usually, Spence, he'll get a foul within like the first minute and a half. Okay. Usually if Spence is starting and you watching a Denver Nugget game, by the time there is 10.5 minutes left in the first quarter, he done got a foul. So this time, his first foul was 3.5 minutes into the game. So, call it what you want. That is improvement. I think Bruce had a great game. Bruce had a good time playing defense in this game. He came in halfway through the first quarter, and I think he really held it down for what they needed him to do. Bruce was a plus 15. And baby, he had that 3-pointer, that all cash. Ooh, excuse me. He had that all-cash 3-pointer to start the fourth. And I was just like, Brucey B, please introduce yourself to the class. Tim Hardaway had a great game. I think he definitely showed up. We need Tim Hardaway with double-digit points every night. He didn't shoot great from 3, 2 of 7, but I mean, the two that he shot were back-to-back, and they were cash. So I think, Tim definitely started the season with us going off. He's in a tad bit of a slump now, but I don't really have any concern. He'll get it back. Overall, he was 50%, 5 of 10, and a plus 15, and he played like it for sure. Zeke Nnaji did not make me mad. There were definitely some possessions where I just felt like, let's see, how many? Okay, yeah, he had 6 rebounds. And for 14 minutes, 14.5 minutes, he had 6 rebounds. Him and Val both had 6 rebounds. Zeke was a plus 5. Zeke had 2 open corner threes, and that man said, cash the check. I was like, he made 1 3 in the first quarter. And I was just like, is that Zeke? And then the camera zoned in on him. I was like, Zeke just shot that 3. And I forget what quarter, but I think it was some other quarter in the second half where he also made another corner 3. He shot 2 for 3 from 3. So, 67% from 3 is always going to sound good no matter what the quantity is. So, Zeke definitely held his own. Only 2 fouls, 2 turnovers, whatever. I'm loving Cam Johnson. I think Cam Johnson, he's just that player, and he was a +4, 60% from the field goal, 3 of 4 from 3. Cam had a 3-and-1. I forget who fouled him. I think it was Jaren Jackson. But he hit that 3-pointer and 1 shot, and I was just like, Cam Johnson is here to play. And that's what I appreciate about Cam. Whether his shot is hitting or not, it's been... Cam had 18 points today, so the shot is definitely hitting. But it's like whether his shots are hitting or not, he's definitely one of those players that's always going to give you effort every time, on both ends of the floor. So I think he had a really great game. Let's see here. Denver, in true Denver fashion, child. Oh yeah, Jokić had a lob to Tim in the third. I was like, look at Timmy getting up there for the lob. I was not expecting that. Tim had a good couple possessions of him just driving to the basket, which I felt like, yeah, you got to get used to that, because just standing around waiting to be a spot up shooter is just not going to work. When, it's not going to work when there are going to be possessions you need to cut to the basket, or you just need to, run baseline and come back around, or just get some attention off of Jamal or get some attention off of Jokić. But this was a game where I noticed Tim making more drives to the basket. And, hopefully it continues. I think he had a great game. The fourth quarter, in true Denver fashion, got a little sloppy. They had a 17-point lead. Yeah. Oh, okay. Cam was guarded by KCP. KCP ain't have the best game. He ain't have the best game. But after Cam's 3-point and 1, they went up by 17, and that was at the 7.5 mark. Their transition defense was a little bit iffy at times. Again, giving Memphis opportunities to their rotations. I'll say this on defense, their rotations and their communication and their rotations were a lot better this game. They played zone a couple of times. Well, a lot. They played zone in this game a lot of times, and I felt like it was a lot more effective than it was in the Sacramento game. But there were definitely times where, like I said earlier, I would just have issue with them leaving people open along the 3. And Memphis, they played a good game when it came to their ball movement. They weren't like Chicago. I think, a lot of teams are going to watch the Chicago game and think, oh, we could just run Denver into the ground. It's like, okay, well, Aaron and Chris aren't here. We got runners. If you want to play that game, we can run, And that's what I noticed in this first half as well, especially with P.Y. and Spence in there. I think Jamal did a great job defensively, but they were, let's see. Yeah, there were just instances where Memphis was doing a great job moving the ball around, and Denver just couldn't keep up, and they would just leave somebody open at 3, and Memphis would cash it. They got careless. They were getting careless in the fourth quarter, and it got kind of scary. Like the last couple minutes, and I was just like, come on, dog. Memphis brought the lead down to 5, and I was just like, seriously? Like, we were literally just up by 17, like 4 minutes ago. How are we only up by 5? But they got it together. They got it together, and it's already circulating on the internet. I think to finish the game, Jokić dribbled up, got in the paint, got some attention on him, and he just did like this wicked like spin move, but behind the back at the same time. Baby, I just cracked a bone doing that. If I'm cracking bones just trying to emulate or imitate, whatever the word is, Nikola Jokić, I can only imagine just how athletic this man is in real life, especially with his size. But he like did this spin move and coupled with the behind the back pass to P.Y. And, you know, I mean, credit to P.Y. for catching it. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like you have to play with Nikola Jokić a considerable amount of time to just anticipate his passes, just to keep your eyes open and be ready to catch the ball when he passes it to you. And baby, when he had that pass, it didn't matter whether it went in or not, which it should have, because Peyton was literally by himself under the basket. But when he made that pass, you've probably seen it already on the internet. Even Memphis's bench was just like, oh my God. That was one of the craziest passes I ever seen. And that was the last thing that I wrote in my notes. So overall, great win from Denver. This is the game that they needed. I think more so to prove to themselves that they have what it takes to survive, you know, these next games these next maybe, you know, 1.5 months without Aaron and without Chris. You know, again, you do have to consider it is against the Memphis Grizzlies, but a win is a win. Okay. Let's see here what their next game is. They have a good little break. Okay. Their next game is Friday. Oh, good for them. Their next game is Friday, the 28th versus San Antonio. And I'm going to tell you, is that home? Okay, that's a home game. Might be of some advantage. The rest have not been great to us at home either, but we'll see. So at least they get a nice break. They get to go home. And it's versus a Victor Wembanyama-less San Antonio Spurs. I don't think that's really going to matter much because Cassell, Vassell, De'Aaron Fox, they've been playing well. So that's going to be another game for them to see what they're made of. And I will get back to y'all around that time, or maybe not, because I think I'll be with my family as well. I probably won't have all my equipment and stuff like that, but I will get back to y'all eventually. We'll talk about that game. Until then, this is Kiana Talks Ball. We back in the win column. I will see y'all again soon. Have a good one.